Hi B2B, good to be with you tonight. We're out at the cemetery, and I told a joke the other day doing this. It was bad.
You have such good jokes.
They're dad. It's a dad joke.
Your dad jokes are dad jokes.
I said, is it bad to say there wasn't a soul around?
That's actually pretty good.
Isn't it a good one?
Yeah, I like that one.
Anyway,
I think I like dad jokes.
they are pretty fun. And
I don't know
obviously
how to
I'm
do
the
it.
dad laughing about this stuff. It's hilarious. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with my dad jokes for the day. All right. Anyway, I wanted to bring something that the Lord's been teaching me on Romans 4 principle. Don't ever break the Romans 4 principle. And why? So this might take a little bit here, and Hilary and I have talked about this because she has a very good view on this when it comes to the psychological part of it too. So we're going to talk about the Romans 4 principle. Now, fortunately, I have watched all my kids graduate from high school. 2 of them have completed college, and 1 started a full-time job. And it's awesome, right? So the fallback to the Romans 4 principle is, as a leader, I need to be able to let those go. We're ready to launch and not keep them down. So, backdrop real quick. So Romans 4 is about Abraham. Backdrop? Yeah, that's probably prettier than this little saying I'm trying to give here. It's probably true. So Romans 4 is the story about Abraham. And his story is pretty simple. He had a promise from God that his seed, one of his kids, one of his sons, would be the father of many nations. That he would be the father of many nations, but the seed would take the promise and fulfill it. So, as you guys know, he had a handmaid because his wife couldn't get pregnant. And 13 years he began telling everyone this is the promise, and then God's like, nope, that's not the promise. And then Isaac was there, and Isaac gets sent out, and God asked him to get rid of Ishmael for good, and Isaac, he says, I want you to offer up Isaac, but Isaac he got back. But the point is, he had to launch Isaac out. He was to push him out and not lord over him the promise. It was Isaac's promise now. He was to carry on where he left off. So you're talking yesterday about parents building a stepping stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go on with that for a second here.
I think that when we parent or encourage people, our role isn't to always be on top. Our role is to go alongside and show what we've built.
Right.
And become a place for this person at some point to trust us enough to say, hey, this is sturdy, I can stand on it, and now I can go from here, which is what I've built, and I can go on to my own. And so what I see with parenting is we're always feeding something, and I don't even just mean,
sure.
I mean like mentoring anybody you're interacting
Sure.
with. You're always feeding something, whether it's good or bad, and you're always creating this stepping stone. And so are you,
That's good.
a step up or a step down? Because your kids for a long time, or the people you're mentoring, or the people that are, sponges around you, whether it's, consciously or unconsciously, are stepping on your stairwell. And is it going up or is it going down?
Yes.
And at some point, what your purpose is to be that place from which you become their launching pad.
Yes. Amen.
I think what you were saying about seeds is so good, because if you choose you're not going to plant the seed and you're just going to keep it, it's going to rot.
Yep.
Right?
No good.
It's
no good.
not going to do you any good.
It has to be planted.
But if
Yes.
you choose to plant it,
Yep.
how much greater, the apple tree, you plant one seed and it becomes this giant
It needs to
apple
come
tree
up.
that
It needs to
feeds.
come up. Otherwise, you
It
can't
needs to
keep it
come
down.
You
Right?
can't protect it. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to just jump on a little bit further and share something Someone had this dream, and I heard it, shared with me, whatever, how you want to say it. It's just a dream, so take it for what it is. In his dream, he was watching in heaven, like this judgment going on, but it wasn't like a terrible judgment of wrath. It was a judgment of correction. It's this great big white room, and he's watching. There's like a theater, except it's really small compared to like the theaters we see today. And there were 4 rows. The first 2 rows were filled with people he kind of knew, maybe knew, some he didn't know. And then the 3rd row, he turned around and he saw these people walking in and sitting down. And he recognized each one, he knew some. They were nationally known and internationally known ministers. They had large ministries. And they all sat in the 3rd row. And he turns around and this angelic being comes in. He says, I have a message from the throne. And I was like, oh wow, so I'm really getting into this dream. This guy's talking about this dream. And the angel says, he spoke to the people in the 3rd row only. And he says, because you broke the Romans 4 principle, your ministries are going to come to an end. Some of you will pass away, and some of your ministries will barely maintain. Because you lorded your ministries over those underneath you who should have been rising, but you kept them down. And he said, in this next season, those in front of you will be catapulted over you and land in that 4th row and take on the next move of God. And man, I was like, that's incredible. It really blew my mind, because that's the importance of, as we have this opportunity to launch our kids, mentor people, those next to us trying to do things. If God is with them, we need to support those next steps so people can make it to that next step, not keep them down. Now, you had this illustration. I'm going to drop this illustration in the comments when we're done, but you describe the triangle, 2 triangles?
Oh yeah, it's not mine. It's I mean, give credit to the psychologist. My psychologist shared it with me, and it's, you know, published work, so like, okay. Whatever copyright caveats, you know, we'll say
Sure.
those are done. But it's there's something called a drama triangle, and it's essentially like this.
Upside down triangle?
So an upside down triangle.
Okay.
And on, you know, the 2 top places, you have a persecutor who's like, so it's 3 people, right? So
Okay.
you have your persecutor on one side, you have the
Criticizing?
the hero on the other side, and then you have
rescuer.
the rescuer, and then you have on the bottom is the victim, right? And so
Right.
each person can so the people can move within this triangle. So like, you know, the persecutor isn't always the persecutor and the victim isn't always the victim, but you're always moving in this direction. And what's interesting about this inverted triangle is that if you notice, the people that are the victim is always on
down
the
here.
bottom.
Victim down here.
And so I think of them being pushed down.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So then there's something called the empowerment diagram, I think. Again, copyrighted, it's not mine, not my thoughts. I'm not smart enough to think of things like this, but they essentially took this drama triangle and inverted it.
Okay.
So this becomes, there's now a challenger on this side who used to be the persecutor. Now they're viewed as the challenger. The person that was the hero is now called the coach. And then the person who's up here is the empowered person.
Okay.
And what I like about this is then they're actually being lifted up
I love it.
as opposed to pushed down.
I love
and so anyway, that's what I...
What's the difference between a coach and someone that is maybe, what was the other word? Opposite of coach would be?
The hero.
The hero.
So, you know, if you know, watch any fairy tale, you have a hero that saves that helpless person.
Oh.
And so...
So you got to keep them helpless.
But if you think of a coach stands on the sidelines and encourages and shows you game day ready, gets you game day ready. Like,
nice. Hey,
hey, let's emulate this situation because this didn't go well in this last game. How can you look at it differently? How can you see this differently?
Positive feedback.
And yeah, and so,
Okay.
I think the coach leaves it in the control of the person and gives them, opportunities to grow, as opposed to a hero who needs that glory on themselves. To be the great hero, you have to.
Here's my question to you: can you outgrow the coach?
Absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely the goal. Yeah, because the coach, I guess maybe that's another part of it, is the coach is on the sidelines. They're not in the game, right? So they can see it from a different perspective, where the hero's going in and fighting the battle. So
how would a coach handle that? How should a coach handle that?
What?
If he's outgrown, I mean, he gets this person to where he's hoping they get.
I don't think a coach ever gets somebody to where they hope they'll get.
Okay.
I think a coach will continue to watch that person grow and
Gotcha.
mentor that person through that growth. I don't think there's ever a point that someone's going to be too great to no longer have, there are people who, a girl that's playing professional soccer now,
Right.
just because she's no longer, playing rec soccer at age 10 doesn't mean she's not using some of the principles that she learned at age 10.
Correct.
And so she's stepped with that coach.
Right.
And so without that coach's step, the other coaches wouldn't have come in line.
Exactly. But that next coach is needed. Like, for instance, I coach football up through JV and little varsity. But I remember Turner, I was like, there's not much more I could do for him.
Right.
Maybe attitude-wise, but as far as technique and skill and game plan, I mean, now where he's at, he's played defensive end, he's played linebacker. This year he's playing strong safety. He knows more about football than I'll ever know because I let him go, right? I have to let him go.
Right.
So those are good, really good stuff. You got thumbs up out there? Is that good stuff? I mean, this is good reminders for us. I don't know how this really works. Wade. Hey, Liz. Hey, Wade. I think I figured it out.
Thanks for joining us.
No. So really, I want to encourage all of us to do a great job of being mentors and parents. And when they need to fly, let them fly. And when you're being coached, let them know you need to be coached to a certain point so you can keep going. There's a lot to this. So the Romans 4 principle, if I'm in a position where I'm mentoring, which I've done for the last 20-some years, I've always hoped they would outgrow me in some fashion. Like they would need me less, right?
Absolutely.
And to watch people grow really just touches my heart. So I don't know, this is graduation time right now, so I guess this is a pretty pertinent message for us. And so write a letter, say a prayer, send an email, a text, if you're a parent, coach, to those you're looking over. And wish them the best and let them go. Trust them to that next level that God will provide someone to meet them where they're at. Anything else you want to drop in?
Yeah, I think the last thing that I want to drop in is just that for the person that's a coach, or for the person that's the challenger, that's working to lift this person up, I want to remind, I think it's so important to remember that to not get stagnant in your identity, because anytime that there's I think so often it's easy to be like, I am a provider, or I am a mom, or I am a,
I'm a dad.
I am a, this
right.
fill in your profession, or whatever it is, but I think a lot of pain, you're setting yourself up for inevitable pain if you choose to dig your heels into and attach to that place of being, because you don't let yourself grow either. And so I think that's,
you used the word permanence earlier with me.
Yeah, yep. When you have that attachment to something, we're in an impermanent world. Right. And so when you have an attachment to something because you want permanence
other than
in
God,
an impermanent world, you're setting yourself up for a lot of pain. And so I guess I just, going back to those diagrams, remembering that they're always shifting and always moving, and you get the joy of being able to be a part of every one of those. And so, you know, I mean,
being
the
human.
easiest way, being able to be teachable, being able
Yes,
to be,
that's what I was getting at, teachable.
you know, being willing to step up and challenge somebody because you care about them and say, hey, you know, I'm a little worried about this thing that you said, just because it doesn't rub me quite right, and I just want to make sure that you're examining this. You know, that's an act of love, and even if
Absolutely.
it's sometimes scary to challenge somebody that you love, that's helping them grow and helping lift them up.
Isn't that the truth?
And then of course, like, you know, if you're finding yourself in that coaching role, to be able to be like, you know, remove yourself and like your selfish ambitions, and like, no, I want to see you be the best you,
That's
because
awesome,
that's
though.
what you want. And
That is
like,
awesome.
anyway, so I
That
guess
is
just
awesome. It's really hard to do as a
a
parent.
little word of caution on
And you know, watching you go after certain things that you have a dream for, and I'm just trying to support what you're trying to go after, you know. So it's the same thing, and I want to just be clear that I jump back and forth in your triangle. Yeah, I get a victim mindset at times, poor me and all that, but I'm working on the other, because the truth's been revealed. But is she good? This is good stuff, man. We kind of working. Yeah. All right. Anyway, love you guys. Hope this next session you get to have with those you're mentoring.
Why did you finish on the giant hill, by the way?
I
You
saw
look like
it.
we're
I'm
really out of
tired.
shape.
It's a big
We're,
deal,
like,
guys.
breathing heavily. It's because of the giant hill, not because we're not able
All
to
right.
walk for 15 minutes.
Have a great evening.